Dr. Rachana Kulkarni, welcome to ITV Gold. Thank you so much for giving us your time today.
Thank you, Aditi. Always great to be here.
Right, today we are talking about a very important cause that is Akshaya Patra and all the amazing work it's doing. Our audience is very familiar with the fact that Akshaya Patra is feeding millions of children in India right now and continues to do so. But there's a lot more happening in India, and let's get some insight into it, doctor. My first question to you has to be, COVID situation got so bad in India, and they're just now starting to recover from it. I'd like to know, when the situation got bad, how bad was it on the field? What did you hear from your volunteers? And what kind of help then was needed, especially through Akshaya Patra?
Sure. As you know, the world, as we know, came to a screeching halt in February of 2020. And COVID gripped the world. And as a result of that, people lost their jobs, and especially migrant workers, day laborers, they lost their jobs and their livelihood, and they had no homes at that point in the big cities. So, just to give you a snapshot, 50 million people lost their jobs in just 2021 in India. And that pushes people, and especially kids, back in poverty. The very poverty that and our mission, Akshaya Patra, wants to get the kids out of that cycle of poverty. So we realized that the need for children and need for migrant workers is more than ever at this point. So come March of 2020, we gathered all our strengths and directed all our efforts to feed the migrant workers and the children. So just to give you a glimpse, we, since March of 2020, have served 145.5 million meals to date.
Wow, that is an amazing number to have. So let's talk about the recent surge, doctor, that we saw, where thousands and thousands of Indians died. We were out of oxygen in the country. They were out of beds, ventilators, quite similar to the destruction we saw here in the United States. How did you then pivot the programs of Akshaya Patra? What became the focus during that time?
Excellent question, Aditi, because as the virus and the second wave hit, we knew that we have to adapt, because the need for meals and the need for food had gone way beyond just school children. First and foremost, the schools were closed. So how do you get food to people? How do you get food to families when the schools are closed? So what Akshaya Patra did was that we serve in 49 locations in India, and the kids are registered for schools. So we did happiness kits. We started doing happiness kits for the kids. What that has, it has dry ration, it has meals, it has sanitary supplies. And one big issue was that we did not want these kids, because of COVID, because of schools being closed, we did not want these kids to go back in poverty. And we did not want, because families did not have means to supply and support these kids. So we started keeping them engaged in education by giving them workbooks, crayons, sanitary napkins, sanitary supplies such as toothbrush, combs, all of that, and masks, so that the kids stay engaged, kids stay fed.
Right.
Now, when the second wave hit, the need, the necessity for food, the hunger, that need increased even beyond that, because we now know that the families don't have anything to eat. A lot of them are losing employment. They don't have any means to support families. So we now came up with family happiness kits. In the family happiness kits, we supply dry ration, which has dal, chawal, atta, root vegetables, haldi, salt, all of that. And one family happiness kits have meal supplies for family of four for 2 weeks. And we are distributing that. So kids and the families come to school and we distribute that.
Right. But how are you reaching them? How is the information being, transferred? And also, currently, do you have enough volunteers on the field?
Akshaya Patra is a deeply rooted organization in all the 49 locations that we serve. And thanks to our volunteers and thanks to the team that is operating non-stop in India, we have had volunteers who go out there in the field and supply these. Now we have even reached the remote areas such as Bihar, Assam. We are supplying food even there. Very, very fortunate to have a constant and steady stream of volunteers doing that.
Yes, and their work
And,
is so
and
important.
the beneficiaries of Akshaya Patra and their family know that they depend on Akshaya Patra for giving food to their children. So that becomes a constant factor, and that's why we are giving food through the schools. So the kids and their family members have to come to school. We cross-check their registration with the kids, and only then they're delivered the food.
Right. Has it gotten better, Dr. Kulkarni, since things are now somewhat recovering in India?
I would love to answer affirmative, but I think the Delta variant is making things very challenging for us.
In India.
And the loss of employment has deepened that food insecurity so much.
Yes, I can only imagine that. I know Akshaya Patra, or a certain sector of Akshaya Patra, works with the government of India because you need to, because these are basically what we call public schools where the meals are being distributed. What was the communication with the government of India like while we had the second surge in India? And now how has the communication changed? What do they want you to focus on?
Akshaya Patra, because of its infrastructure and volunteers, government of India has tapped regularly into. At this point, they have asked us to increase our reach and increase our services way beyond the school meals. They have asked us to supply food, if we can, to government hospital doctors and the patients and relatives, which we are doing. Some of our kitchens are open, and we have started that pilot program in Bangalore and Delhi. And we are currently supplying food to doctors, healthcare workers, and families and relatives at Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital and Lady Harding's Hospital.
You know, Dr. Kulkarni, what's something that really touched me was the fact that Akshaya Patra has fed crematories workers in India. Now, we all saw those devastating photos of crematories completely overwhelmed with dead bodies. We saw how much work these workers had to do, and they kind of put their life at risk while they were doing that. What was the purpose behind, going and feeding them? What sort of ignited that responsibility for Akshaya Patra?
These are workers, as you said, they are putting their lives in danger. They are performing essential services. They're performing the last rites for people when even their family members can't be there. So they are on very forefront. They don't get to say, oh, you have COVID, we don't see you. No, they're doing all of that. And we felt that they are very much on the front line and should be treated as frontline workers as such and should be served a decent meal.
Right. And that's so important. How bad is the issue of food insecurity in India right now? Do you have any numbers, any insight you could provide us to, we hear the situation is bad. I'd like to know how bad is the situation?
The situation is dire because it breaks my heart to say that the kids who never had to worry about food are now getting up, and it's almost like they have lost their childhood. They're going and scouring garbage. And that's exactly what we want to avoid, Aditi. We want these kids to explore their full potential and don't want them to get succumbed in this downward spiral of hunger, poverty, and not getting out of it. And so Akshaya Patra has made a pledge to do the best we can. And that's why, just to give you a snapshot, 145.5 million meals have been served in the last, since March, 70 million cooked meals. We have also given 1 million happiness kits, another million family happiness kits, just to keep these families and children afloat.
Right. You are a health expert. You are a professional. We have you here to discuss many COVID news and updates. India is basically bracing right now for a third new wave. All the experts are saying that. The first question is, do you agree with them? Second question is, how prepared is Akshaya Patra right now for this third wave? While you're still recovering, the children are still recovering from the damage that's already been done.
It's vaccine hesitancy can push us into the third wave, because the only thing India, which is a very densely populated country, can do to prevent the third wave and this catastrophe is to get everyone vaccinated as fast as we can, so that the virus does not mutate and we don't have to deal with other variants. Because right now we are dealing with Delta, and of another variant, Lambda variant, is lurking on the sidelines. So vaccine distribution as much as we can, and to work on vaccine hesitancy is the key to do it. Is Akshaya Patra prepared? We certainly hope so. Time will tell. However, you all can help. And my appeal to all your listeners and all your viewers is that this is the time of need. Please step up. Please do your part. My appeal to you is $20 can feed a child for an entire school year. $30 can feed a family of 4 for 2 weeks. So please reach deep into your heart. I always look at $20 bills very differently when I see them now. Please donate as much as you can and support the families of India in need, because essentially by feeding these children, you're feeding the future of India, because these are the kids who have great potential, and we have to just protect that.
While I still have you with me, Dr. Kulkarni, I'd like to look at Akshaya Patra USA, because it has been a huge mobilizer for Akshaya Patra globally. You do sit on the board of trustees. You are the chapter chair for Tri-State, which is one of the biggest chapters here in the United States. What is going on with all of you right now? What is the purpose right now, and what is the focus, and how much help do you think was sent by Akshaya Patra USA back to India?
Akshaya Patra USA is doing great job, and I am so proud of my fellow citizens and fellow Indian Americans for reaching out and supporting this noble cause with all their passion. Last year, we raised $12 million to send to India and to help in that effort. I have to say, our Tri State chapter has done an amazing job in raising awareness, raising money, and campaigning last year at our gala. Uh, we raised more than $3 million to support the cause. And I have to thank all your viewers, all our listeners, and ITV Gold, you, Dr. Parikh, your tireless support for our vision and our mission. We are doing a lot of online events. We have 32 chapters right now in the United States. So please join any of the chapters. Please do whatever you can. It's a grassroots organization. Each family, if they pledge to support one family in India, we are going to do at least our part, right? And we are going to have an event to raise awareness on August 11th in New York. And we would like to have a big in-person gala on November 20th, right here in New Jersey. So please go on to our website, look at all the events coming up between now and then. We have a lot of virtual events. Know the cause, know the mission, and I can guarantee you that you cannot not get involved.
Yeah, two more questions left for you, Dr. Kulkarni. I know Akshaya Patra, talks about the future, the next generation, which is children of India, but it's also focused on youth empowerment here in the United States as well, with a lot of Indian Americans growing up here, South Asian Americans growing up here. What would you like to say to the youth of this country, especially from our region? What can they do? Because they can relate to those children and they can understand what it means to have something not given to you. What do you have to say to them?
We are all lucky that we are born and we are living in a country of abundance. And to the youth, I always say that your parents, your teachers have taught you to explore and do the best you can and explore your full potential and possibilities. Those opportunities are denied to these kids in India who are currently gripped by this pandemic. You can do very little to help these kids. So raise awareness. Think about a pie of pizza can serve a kid, can feed a kid for an entire school year. Raise awareness, donate as much or as little as you can, run campaigns in your school, in your social circles, and you will feel good about it. You will feel that you did something, you made a difference in a child's life, and you're going to allow that child to explore, to reach their potential.
Yes, for sure. My last question to you, Dr. Kulkarni, is there are several reputable Indian nonprofits that are currently working to provide help to India in all aspects. Akshaya Patra is feeding. Some people are working with them on education. Some people are working on them on housing. What do you have to say about all of these organizations that sort of work together to bring forth some more help for India? What has your experience been with them?
We are so fortunate, Aditi, that we live here in the United States and we all still feel that connection to the motherland and want to do our part to help India, especially now in time of need. And these various organizations, Ekal, Pratham, all these foundations, they are helping the best they can. Everyone has a little different take and little different focus, but my salute to all of them. My salute to all the volunteers and all the donors who make that mission possible. Pick a mission that resonates with you. I felt that supporting education via food is Akshaya Patra's mission, and that resonates with me. That helps kids stay in school and break the cycle of poverty, help girls to stay in school, and so that we can educate an entire generation of girls so they can be better supporters for their family and give their children education that they also had. So that was my mission. But any of these organizations, my salute to them for helping India.
Yes, for sure. And I would like to remind our viewers, as you discussed, $20 will feed a child for a whole school year in India. And as you said, that's a pie of pizza for many. So thank you so much for your time here on ITV Gold today. I look forward to having you again.
Thank you so much for support from ITV team. We are indebted to you. Thank you very much.